Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Earthdance TV and Frequency Check. And tonight we're going to be talking about a subject which is quite profound. It's really one of the secrets of the trance scene, although many people are aware of it. So it's what you might call an open secret. And that's really the connection between trance music, I would say possibly electronic mu dance music more broadly. I mean, you could include techno, although really trance music is I would say more closely associated with this kind of notion of spirituality or spiritual connection than techno, which tends to be quite sort of glamour and glitzy and all of that thing rather than the deeper matters or issues. So with me tonight, I have some of our great DJs who are going to be playing at Earthdance Cape Town 2025. And we're going to get their thoughts on the matter as well. So let me welcome them all. Let me admit them all to this call, and then we can be introduced. Okay. See, here we have the beautiful Sandra Gee, or DJ Siren X. We have Merlin, DJ Merlin, who is Merlin. And as we see, he's got his wizard's hat on. Very appropriate. Thanks for that, Merlin.
Pleasure, pleasure.
And what's happened to Marius? Marius, I'm not seeing Marius. Okay, so just to kick trance and spirituality. So let me first say that trance dancing for me is a form of meditation. So it is a very profound experience for me. It's a very it's an ecstatic experience. So it's an experience where, if you've seen me on the dance floor, you'll know that I dance with my eyes closed and I generate a lot of energy. And for me, trance dancing is about working with energy. It's about working with the what you would call it, what in Eastern tradition is called the key energy, which is the life force energy within the body, and it involves breathing techniques and this kind of thing, where I get into a trance state, which is for me it's a very, very profound experience. In fact, it is the most wonderful experience that I have ever had in my life. And it's better than sex because it lasts longer. Okay. But also it is for me, trance dancing is an expression of the soul. It is a way in which I can really connect with that spiritual aspect of myself. And I know that I'm not unique in this. I know that other people in the trance scene also experience this kind of connection. And it's reflected in many aspects of the trance scene. So, for example, if you've seen promotional material for trance parties, where they talk about sacred connection, sacred space, where uh, uh, many of the DJs speak about it in their bios, and also in the lyrics of many of the trance tracks, there's mentions of consciousness and all of this kind of thing. So tonight we're going to be looking at that in the context of Earth Dance, and asking why. Why is this like? Why is this so? So Sandy and Merlin, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, for me, trance is just way beyond entertainment. When rhythm takes over, it just strips away all that mental noise and it connects people directly to something that's primal, almost sacred. So, as a DJ, I don't feel like I'm just playing music. I'm making an offering of energy and weaving that journey for people to step into. And that's where the dance floor becomes a collective ritual, even if no one really labels it that.
Right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, for me, it's been a matter of like I come from a family of Europeans, and being firstborn South African, it's been an interesting kind of connection to have these European influences, but being born in this very multicultural country and space. And then I found like going to trance parties where like we all going to a space where there's a loud sound system that is vibrating the molecules in front of the speakers at such a intensity that it actually hits our physical form, and then starts getting our physical beings to harmonize in those vibrational frequencies. But then we can connect beyond language, beyond culture, beyond background. And my personal experience is that trance music tends to bring a kind of person that has a sense of an open mind to the way of other people. And it's not such a rigid kind of music, but more of a flowing style. I actually had an interesting chat with a friend of mine of like how drum and bass versus psytrance, and how drum and bass is like energy being expelled in a box, and it's very jumpy in a box, which explains it in terms of its background. Like it started in warehouses and such, and it was very industrial. And now psytrance is more like energy being expended in flow, which makes sense because it started in Goa and started with guitars and these just flowing melodies and riffs and arpeggiators. And yeah, it's just a magical space to be in with other people for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about this for a long time, for many years, and I think that it does have to do with vibration, because essentially everything is energy. I mean, we are energy, so we are actually energy beings. And for me, being in that trance state means being in touch with my energy body, if you like to, one could call it that. And I think that's it's a combination of the lower bass rhythms with the higher frequencies. And
Mm,
like house music is very, it's more along the sort of bass rhythms. It kind of gets your hips moving. Like I guess hip hop music is also like that. And
mm,
if you look at it in terms of the body's chakra system of the energy body. So there's some types of music that work on your lower chakras, and there's other kind of music that works on the higher chakras, which are more, of a higher vibration.
Mm.
So I think that, in on the dance floor, as you say, it's the energy of the music which is vibrating us. Although I must say, interestingly, I can get into much the same state with silent disco, with just headphones on. So it's not necessarily the sound which is impacting on the body, although I think that does also play a part. But what is happening is that the sound is interacting with our consciousness, and it's with when we dancing, when we're moving our bodies, we our bodies are generating energy. So this shell, this physical shell, um, is kind of the source of the energy body, and through moving very fast and to this variable frequency music, it raises the vibratory state of that energy body. And in raising that vibratory state, it has an effect on our consciousness. And that's why, everybody on that dance floor is feeling this sort of uplifting experience. And that brings us to that ecstatic state of consciousness. So what is your experience? I mean, you guys are the DJs, you are the wizards, and I really respect you for that, because it's you who create the journey for us. But what is your experience on the dance floor? I mean, if you on the other side of the decks, on the dance floor, what is your experience there?
Yeah, well, I've been doing outdoor festivals for a very long time, and I've had the privilege of being in front of many dance floors with various genres of music. And I have to say, psytrance has always been my favorite. It energizes me the most out of all of them. Yeah, I definitely move parts of my body that don't often move. And I can go for hours. And it's quite something. You can almost visually see the frequencies of the sound as it moves through people and as everybody's responding to it. It's a beautiful and powerful experience. Being on both sides, actually, to be behind the decks and to witness the crowd as you are playing your music and that feedback loop that happens. It's really powerful.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so we've also now been joined by Marius, DJ Uncle Frank. Hi, Marius.
Hey, I'm well, and you?
Hey, good man. Yeah, so I
Fantastic.
don't know if you've been able to follow the conversation at all, but basically we're talking about this association between trance music and a kind of spiritual experience.
Right. We're in the right conversation, that's for sure.
Okay,
Nelly, I'm sorry.
right. So Marius, what do you make of this idea? What's been your experience or your vision in that in
Uh,
that?
Traditionally, music at its core is a collective consciousness. It's a collective dream. It's a collective tool to use to transcend whatever it is, whether it's a bad day or whether it's real shamanic activity. It depends from individual to individual. And I do believe that at its core, it will always be that. It will never change. Whether we use sticks and stones or whether we use electronica, it's going to be that forever. And it's very exciting to be part of the current technological, although technology withheld me from this conversation for a while, but it's great to be part of the current technological advances. In one way, it's really fantastic because it gives people an opportunity that are not musically trained or anything like that. And then at another level, it's got its own frustrations because it's also limited to a degree because there's so many preset packs and people start sounding the same. But neither here nor there. The ritual concept of it is definitely a reality, and I play into that. When I DJ, I definitely play into that. Whether there's 10 people on the floor or 50 people on the floor or whatever the case might be, I always consider that entrainment, that rhythmic, that tribal amalgamation that happens. It's very difficult to explain, but yeah, I definitely see it as a ritualized thing. Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean trance dancing is really, I think, about as old as humanity itself. Because
Yeah.
you look at the Bushmen, and the Bushmen have a trance dance where all that they're doing, they're stamping their feet, maybe they chanting, maybe they playing with rattles and that kind of thing, but they go into a trance. It's a trance dance, and that is a mystical experience, and that is reflected in other cultures as well. If you look at the Vodun of Haiti, you look at the Tarantella dance of Spain, um, all through time, all across all cultures, you have this people, human beings have this experience of being able to go into a trance, which is essentially an altered state of consciousness through movement and through rhythm. So
Mm.
I think it's been with us for a very long time, and also for for me, like drumming. If you in a circle of people who are doing drumming, it's great just to get up and dance to it because that's what you want to do. It's
Yeah.
that rhythm that makes you want to move.
Mm.
Yeah, it's in our
Yeah.
soul, our DNA. It's imprinted. It's programmed. It is. You cannot escape it. You just can't.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, what you said makes me think of like exercise and or breath work, for example. Breath work, we consciously put ourselves under some sort of stress, which allows us to kind of elevate our frequency and our vibration. And it's only through a conscious kind of stressing oneself that then you can achieve these states. And psytrance, I know, like for my sister, for example, she doesn't enjoy psytrance because it's too fast, she finds, and too repetitive. But she really likes drum and bass, which is 175 BPM, but it's breakbeat, so it's a little bit more relaxing for her. But then for people who understand the trance and how to step into the trance through the music, it's this faster or speeding up of the heart rate and your movements that then steps you into this ecstatic state, as you mentioned, that really allows us to kind of step up in the kind of energetical planes and tap into higher states of being, for sure.
So Marius, I think there's two things that you mentioned that I'd like to pick up on. And the first one is the technology, because it seems to me that at this point in time in the 21st century, what we've done, and when I say we, I mean humans, not me specifically. We've created a technology of the soul. A technology which creates this music, which is created with computers, which can really put us in touch with that divine space within us. And
Yeah, I think what you're saying, it's a Pandora's box. And because technology is also it's a very strange debate to get in, but I think there is a part of me that also knows that there's very little life, actual soul, inside of the technological realm. I am opening myself here to possibly be shot by some who are diehard believers, but I do think it's the DJ. It's the DJ that ultimately, when there's electronic music being played, plays a pivotal role in the life, in the soul of that music. I'm not saying that the creators of the music didn't make it with soul. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is there's a very different essence that gets brought about when, say, two sticks or a didgeridoo gets played, as opposed to a drum kit that gets loaded onto your track and that you just sort of like manipulating with reverb or compression or whatever the case might be. There's a definite difference, and that's a personal thing that I'm saying. I don't think I'm speaking towards everybody. I'm being very vulnerable and just being very personal and direct about it. But I do believe that in that context, the DJ plays a massive role, and that is where the magic of it comes together, where the producer's intent gets picked up by the DJ and somehow, in some way, shape, or form, gets channeled. So there's this weird symbiosis between people that you've never met, because I've never met most of the people that produce the music that I enjoy. I've never had any conversation with them, but I sense at some level, at least for myself, what it is that they're trying to portray. And that's the thing that I pick up. I pick up on their excitement. And when I'm DJing, I definitely allow that excitement to come through. I almost want to say my fingertips. And I think that's where the life of the party takes on a very different dimension, as opposed to it just being electronic clicks and clacks, compressed or reverbed.
Yeah, and then there's also, of course, the big side of from the like the people enjoying the set, how they then pick up your intention that's
Oh
being
yes,
projected through there as well.
oh yes,
Because
spot on.
it's super interesting how like I could play the same set as you, same order of tracks, but it'll sound so different.
Spot on,
Yeah.
spot on. No, you're picking up on a very interesting thread, and it's something that is not typically discussed. And I think this conversation, whoever's in on it, is listening to, I don't know, something they didn't expect.
Yeah, psychoacoustics are an interesting topic that isn't spoken about enough within the music world. I mean, as a producer as well, it's something that wasn't taught to us much. Like they kind of just skimmed the surface and they're like, this is super important, but we're not really going to talk about it because no one really understands what's going on. And yeah, I think it kind of changes from person to person because we've all got our separate backgrounds in a way, and we
Yeah.
all interact and almost like decipher the message that we are picking up in different ways, and that's what then gets translated and received in a different way from the dancers. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that's a new word for me, psychoacoustics.
Yes,
Haven't heard of
yes.
that concept
Me
before.
neither. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Could
like
you?
something interesting I heard I researched recently is like the difference between algorithm and logarithm. And algorithm is like the process to achieve something. So step by step, what you do to have outcome. And then logarithm is an exponential decrease. And our ears are logarithmic, where we hear stuff. So, for example, if you're outside in the wild and you hear a rustling of grass, you need to be able to pick that up to be able to run away or be aware of the snake or whatever. But if a gunshot goes off right next to your ear as well, you don't want to go deaf. So our ears compress sound logarithmically. So the louder it gets, the more compressed it gets exponentially. And that's an example of psychoacoustics where it's there to protect our ears, but it also allows us to hear super variations within dynamics.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always amazed just at, some of the trance tracks because I just think, how the hell did people create this? There you're sitting in front of your computer, you working with the software and putting all the little squeaks and watching the sine waves. How does that end up in this amazing sound, which does transport us? And I think Marius, you used a very good word. There's transcendence. I mean, I've found that even when I'm going through like a very dark or in a very dark, depressed emotional state, through dancing, I can actually transcend that. So it doesn't remove the emotional pain, but it allows me to transcend it.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the great things about dancing because it does enable that release. You can release all of the bullshit that you've had to go through during the week and in your normal life,
Yeah.
and just let it go. And so
Exactly.
after a weekend's partying, you kind of come out of there clean, as it were.
So that thing that you just mentioned about coming out of a weekend's party, I must say, I like sobriety, and I like to stay as sober as I humanly possibly can. And even within sobriety, I feel at least a 2 to 3 day intense release, and there's a level of joy that is hard to describe, and there's a level of connection that is somehow forever there. Like, if you meet the guy that you danced with in a shopping mall, you'll immediately recognize him and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because there's that memory. So it definitely. I mean, I don't even know who I am after about 3 hours of dancing.
Yeah.
Truly, I've got I lose myself, like you say, and I lose the identity of being a father or being a business owner or whatever the case might be. All of those things fall by the wayside real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me as a dancer, I find that there are two kinds of DJs, just to simplify things radically.
Yes.
But anyway, there's DJs who can get the dance floor moving and everyone's bouncing around and they're happy. But it's a very like superficial experience. Whereas there are other DJs who really understand trance, who can really go deep, and really raise the level. So that they are able to create that transcendent experience. And there are few DJs who can do that. And I think all of you, and pretty much all of the DJs that we have at Earthdance are those kind of DJs, which is what is going to make this party, one of the things that's going to make this party so amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
what you've just mentioned is interesting because I also looked and I noticed that a lot of the DJs are older. And I think the reason why I'm talking into that is because of your thread where you're mentioning that experience is what I quickly picked up of what you're saying. Experience plays a role. You need to have been on the other side of the DJ booth, and you need to have been in certain altered states, and you need to have been exposed to it for a couple of days to really appreciate what to even try and listen for or feel for or send into that same collective. So it's definitely a two-way street. I think I was a dancer long before I was ever interested in playing music.
Yeah, likewise, actually. I mean, for me, it was like, I'm not sure exactly which party it was. I think it was a Vortex 2018, where I had a moment of just seeing kind of how the DJ's energy was actually being transduced through the speakers and then being received by the dance floor. And there was just something that clicked within me where I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, I just want to hold space for people to be themselves and to just let go of any perception that they have and just be in the moment. However that is, however that feels, whatever thoughts are flowing through your head, cool. Just let loose, man. Just wiggle a little bit and maybe some more.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the intention of the DJ has a lot to do with it. So, Sandra, you've been quiet.
Absolutely.
What's your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just an ancient technology dressed in modern sound. I mean, long before we had clubs and sound systems, as you mentioned, humans gathered around fire, drumming, and chanting into these altered states. And I think psytrance works in the same way, that repetitive rhythm bypasses that thinking mind and takes people into a collective trance. And so the science is in the brain waves, but the experience is spiritual. And that's what connects us to something bigger than ourselves. Yeah, the collective
Right,
states.
right. Yes. And I think one of the wonderful things about Earth Dance, well, probably the most wonderful thing, is that we become aware that we are dancing with people all across the planet. I mean, this is
Yes.
planetary work that we're doing.
Yeah, an
Yes.
honor that I can't express more, like an absolute honor, really, to be part of this. Wow. It's like what I want to do and then just tenfold.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, I must say, after I got the phone call, I went into my room, I closed the door, and I just kind of shook it out.
Nice.
No, it's beautiful. And the initiative, the Earth Dance initiative in itself, this conversation lends so much possibility to the actual initiative, which is a global initiative, which is one of the most fantastic concepts out there, and it's a pity in a way that it's done once a year. Um, but it definitely stands as a reminder that there's a lot that can be done in a collective fashion. United we stand, divided we fall. And I do believe that from a global perspective, there is an impact that we are a part of and that we are creating, and that excites me tremendously as a human being and as a DJ.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we've got a question from our listeners or viewers from Ibrahim Bernardine. No, now it's gone. Get the chat up. Doesn't being a DJ take away from the experience? Uh, don't you find yourself counting beats instead of enjoying it purely?
Not at all. Actually, this is quite good on another psychoacoustic element that I was thinking of, where it's like psytrance has the potentiality. Not all psytrance goes to this length of being very complex, but there's obviously within all of the subgenres, there's a lot of complexity. And in general, psytrance is quite complex. The sound design, the polyrhythms, the melodies, all of the things that are going on. And psychoacoustically, the more that is going on, the more our mind gets activated, actually, or the brain gets activated. And the more the brain gets activated, the more we step into these higher states. And as the DJ, Rick Rubin says it in a great way, that as artists, we are the antennas that we receive the messages that are coming through. But for us to receive those messages, we have to open ourselves to a state of receiving. We can't stay closed off, because then that's when you get these feelings of a superficial, somewhat DJ set, because it's just like, oh, I'm going to play this track because I want to play this track. And you're not really listening to the crowd and what energy they're giving you. Because in the end, you are like how I told my nephew when I taught him how to DJ. As the DJ, you are the captain of the spaceship. And if something goes wrong, you need to play it cool. You need to make sure that everyone feels like they're on a spaceship that's still going in the right direction. And in that way, there's technicalities, and it can get quite mental and intellectual. But to be able to transmute that is part of the trance experience that we as DJs provide.
Yeah, and I also think that there are levels in the experience, and I think when you start out DJing, counting beats and looking at phrases and all that kind of stuff is a critical part of your training and your development. And I think initially it's very much a mental thing, and you're very much aware of it. But after a couple of sets, there's no. I mean, if I play, for example, I unless something goes wrong, like a channel's not working, or there's some sort of technical glitch, which is very rare. But unless something goes wrong, I absolutely go into a trance all of my own. There's no doubt about it. I flow. I very rarely think. I am almost in a way ill composed. because I really I get taken by the music, and I think that's part of the charm for me personally is to be as much part of the crowd as what the crowd is a part of me at that particular moment. You know, it's definitely not about counting beats anymore. No.
And I think the longer you've been in the game, your ear actually gets trained to it. So it's less about counting beats. You can hear when it's time. You can hear the beats.
Yeah.
And yeah, and as you're playing, it's such a beautiful feedback back loop between you and the crowd. So I always get really into it and I have so much fun. I'm always nervous before I start to play because I'm passionate about what I do. But once I'm second track in, I'm in it. And coming off that is actually just such a natural high. It's such a good feeling, and I always walk off there feeling so elevated. I'm in it all the way, so it definitely doesn't take it. It's such a gift.
Yes.
Yeah, Mario. Sorry, but what you said there really like reminded me of the last festival that I played at. There was a moment where actually there were a couple moments where I like came back to myself and I was like, oh, there's decks in front of me. Oh, the track's ending soon. Okay, time to mix the next tune. Like, I was so in the crowd and in the space that I wasn't even like aware of the feeling of the tracks that I was actually playing because it just became a feeling in the end. I wasn't even counting the beats as you mentioned as well, Sandra. Like, it just becomes a feeling in some sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I did many years of martial arts, and at one point, one of my instructors, because he kept on giving me trouble about this particular punch that I was doing, and I wasn't, my form wasn't right, you know, and I got very annoyed by it, and I cornered him, and I said to him, "Listen, man, so what's up with this grilling business?" And he said to me, "When you started this whole endeavor, a punch was just a punch, right?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And then he said to me, and then at some point you were training and you were developing this thing, and then it became something else. And I said, yes, exactly. And then he said, and when you mastered the move, the punch was just a punch, right? So it's like that, you actually do get to a point where the basics definitely become like riding a bicycle, and you definitely go into a space that is impossible to discuss, especially not on a forum like this. There's too many vulnerabilities that you can open yourself up to, but it's a very profound space that you go into. I definitely identify with that, and I have a lot of respect for DJs who have influenced me. I mean, I come from a heavy metal background, and a friend of mine sent me a recording of a guy called Tiesto, and I promise you, I listened to that cassette once, and I was hooked. I was hooked. I went from Metallica to Tiesto almost literally overnight. And there's a reason why that particular individual is who he is. It's not fluke or by chance. And he definitely that does he's magic. He's in his own way. I mean, he plays a very different genre of music. He's got very different interests. But from a DJ perspective, he definitely changed a lot of people's lives. And I think that's part of what we're discussing as well. I mean, if you're playing, you're definitely impacting people. You don't know where people are at. You know what people are thinking. There have been divorces. Some people have just fallen in love. Some people have just lost a job. There's all kinds of scenarios that is in front of you. And I think the beauty of what you're doing is ultimately what we're talking about is to set people free from that kind of thinking and to allow them to just have bliss, you know. Yeah.
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 Yes. Right. Yeah, and I think the whole party environment is a magical space. It's like something which is removed from our normal mundane reality. The lasers and the lights and the UV lights and of course, that music, which is which takes us to that transcendental state. And so in that magical space, anything can happen. And I mean, for me, dancing is an experience where one is completely in the moment. Every moment, every second or fraction of a second, you move and you are responding to that music. And in that moment, you can go anywhere. If your hand is moving from there to there, or it can move from there to there, or in that moment is infinite potential. And I think that also, it shows us how the infinite potential within us, that we can be anything that we want to be. We can do anything that we want to do if we put our minds to it and our energy into it. But we are creators, and in that it's also a mirror of the divine, because the divine is behind the creation of the creator. We talk about the creator, and
Yes.
we are reflections of that.
Yes. I mean, people have been dancing for as long as people have been dancing, which is forever and a day, right? And I know from studying certain cultures, I do know that the Aboriginals and our local Bushmen, they have a specific state that they go into, and they go into those states to produce windows of opportunity that are under normal circumstances not available to them. And so what you're saying is definitely, it speaks to the heart, definitely does. There are some amazing things that happen to people on dance floors. And there's actually an urban legend about that song, Last Night a DJ Saved My Life. Last night a DJ saved my life from a broken heart. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
I'm giving my age away. But apparently, according to urban legend, that song was written by a girl who was going to commit suicide.
Interesting.
That went to a club, and the DJ took her on a journey, and literally that window of opportunity that you were talking about was opened, and she saw life, and she chose life.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
amazing.
I had a similar experience actually with one of the first festivals that I went to, and where like the trance state really clicked. Because like when I was younger, I had quite a pessimistic view on life. To be very clear, I saw a lot of the suffering in the world, and I wasn't sure how me as one person could make a difference or be of any change. And with the conditioning and so on that we get told, that we get brought up with, I thought I was kind of doomed to the same issue. But then at a party with all of these people smiling and dancing around me, and like kind of not caring about any of these issues that are seemingly around us, I just had this dawning realization that like life is actually freaking beautiful, just like the melodies and such that are touching my ears. And like I have a choice in every moment to recognize how life has always been there for me, or I can choose to look the other way, which makes no sense to me. And I feel like this is what festivals, specifically like Earthdance, that have this global and very deep intentional meaning behind it, really like their intention is to show people that window. It's
Yes.
like we're doing this together, and we're all on the same path. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, because I was just going to ask, do you think that Earth Dance, I mean, it's it's global planetary party for peace. So do you think that it has any effect really? I mean, dancing for peace, but what's the result really at the end of the day? What do you think?
Wow, that is a very challenging question that you're asking. But my perspective is that for that particular moment, that 10 or 15 minutes that everyone is linked up, there is no power or no force that can change or affect what is being created. But I do believe that it needs to be done on a more regular basis, not necessarily Earth Dance, but as a collective. And this is a bridge that somebody needs to pick up on and build, because that would be a hell of a thing if large groups of people can join minds and hearts and leave their cultural baggage behind them and kind of just connect. But that is a very idealistic perspective. But I do think that for that moment in time, there is an unshakable essence that's being released. It's unfortunately not permanent if you look at what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what comes to mind is that there was I forget exactly when it was, but there was a period where over 7,000 people gathered to meditate together for a couple of
Yes,
days. And
yes,
they did research and they found out that, like, as they meditated, the crime and violence in the world dropped so drastically that it was literally obvious.
yeah,
And this is like one of the biggest issues as a human, I find, like the human condition of perceiving separation or perceived separation. We think that I'm here and you're over there, but in the quantum realm, everything's happening all at once at the same time, and it's right here. We just can't perceive it within our perception of RGB color spectrum and 20 to 20,000 hertz like hearing spectrum.
yeah,
And yet at a party where it's written underneath the party that we're dancing for peace, it gets put into the psyche of the person, and whether they like it or not, they've got that idea within them. And naturally, we are all beings of love, and naturally that seed gets watered when you go to a festival like this. And then, yeah, exactly as Mario says, it doesn't matter how long you're on the dance floor for, but if you're there for 5, 10 minutes, you're probably there for 3 days, though. There's going to be those moments where you're connecting unconsciously and, like, not necessarily unconsciously, but more like subconsciously to the mass collective, that is doing the same thing in other places of the world, dancing to the same beat. They have their heartbeat racing at the same speed, the contact with the ground at exactly the same time. It may be perceived in a different space and time, but we've actually taken the accountability of time out of the equation. So it's actually just a perception of space that's now limiting the idea of separation. Yeah.
wow,
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, trance dancing, as I've said earlier, is about energy and awareness of the energy body. And once you realize that everything is energy, then you know that everything is connected, you know. So
Yeah.
this we have this illusion that here we are as I'm a being here I am, and I'm separate from my chair, and separate from you, etc. But if you look beyond that, and you see us just as being energy fields, we are energy fields within bigger energy fields that are within bigger energy fields. So really everything is connected. And I think that what we do in changing our own consciousness, because that's where the change happens. We're
yeah,
not Donald Trump. We can't
yeah,
influence world events, but what we can do is change ourselves and change our own perspectives.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, one of the most amazing things for me about this dance culture is that we do come together at parties, and it's, you know, it's a very peaceful, harmonious in environment. It's a very tolerant environment. You know, everybody can be whoever they want to be, and it's fine. You know, doesn't
Yeah.
matter what gender you are, what your sexual orientation is, what your religion is, what your race is. None of that matters anymore.
No.
And you know, if we take that experience and we say, well, how can we make this happen in the rest of the world, in our everyday lives? How can we contribute to peace and, you know, thinking peaceful thought in our everyday lives? And that starts with finding the peace within ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what Merlin was hinting at when he was talking about watering the seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
You-
guys. So we've been yakking along for almost an hour now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a very long time.
Yeah,
Time flies when you're having fun, eh? Who would have thought?
it does. Yeah. So yeah, thanks very much for being here tonight and for participating in this conversation. I think it's a very important conversation. I certainly hope that the conversation will continue at the party and other people can take it up and talk about it and do it. Yeah, let's do it. Let's make this a party to remember, which it will be.
100%. Yeah. Buy the ticket, take the ride. Hunter S. Thompson said, right? So yeah, it's been fun. I'm very grateful to have been part of this conversation. Yeah,
Likewise.
I think there is a lot of truth that can be enjoyed as a result. There's a lot of stuff that can be chatted about.
Indeed. Come to the party and we can carry on the chats.
100%. Yeah, no, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Super
that's
excited.
cool. Excellent. So yeah, it's coming up soon, not this weekend, but the next weekend. We all going to be on that dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to be behind the decks, and I'm going to be dancing. So awesome! I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, myself.
Cool.
All the best. Keep well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Much love.
Thanks
Thank you so
very
much
much,
for the
guys.
chat. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.